Thomas à Kempis, chapter 22, says, "Who is then in the happiest state? Even he who is able to suffer something for God." Now, I think there's a couple of ways at least of looking at this passage. There's the specific way, the narrow or specific way, and there's the broad or general way. First of all, the specific or narrow way. Who suffers something for God, in the words of Thomas à Kempis? We may immediately think of dedicated monks and nuns, people who serve in leprosy hospitals in Africa, daily risking their lives, or missionaries who venture into unexplored forests or islands, risking their lives, preaching to cannibals. Volunteers who serve in canteens among the poor and destitute. All these people and many more are able to suffer something for God. And we generally feel respect for these people, particularly those who risk their health and their very lives. These people, says Thomas à Kempis, are in the happiest state. But they are the minority of the church. Most of us have not been called to serve in these ways. Our calling has been to earn a living in some ordinary job, maybe get married and raise a family. Some remain single. Of course, we serve in what ways we can, but rarely, if ever, would we claim that we are suffering something for God. But there's another application of Thomas à Kempis's words. There's the broader and more general application. We also suffer. It's guaranteed that everyone listening to this video will know what suffering is. We became acquainted with suffering in the first months, maybe the first minutes of our lives. Suffering is the common experience of man. Rarely a day goes by without some form of it. From minor irritations and inconveniences to, heaven forbid, major accidents or gloomy medical diagnoses. Suffering is almost 24/7. Our sufferings can be even more painful because they seem to lack meaning. Most of them seem to be so small and insignificant compared with many others. Ours haven't got any glory attached, like the missionary in the Amazon. Everything for us is mundane and inglorious because it doesn't have the spiritual significance of the missionaries and the monks and the nuns. In this sense, our sufferings are worse because they appear to lack meaning. Furthermore, we didn't willingly choose them. We can't claim to have made a step of self-sacrifice. These sufferings just come upon us. But this is where we are wrong, very wrong. In fact, the devil wants us to think along these lines. The blessing applies to others, but not to you. I used to think that I would need to sneak into heaven amongst all the worthier sheep, an off-white sheep amongst the white ones, until God told me I was as special to him as all the others, and this also applies to our sufferings. In Acts chapter 14, verse 21 following, it says this: "Paul and Barnabas preached the good news and made disciples, strengthening and establishing the hearts of the disciples, encouraging them to remain firm in the faith, saying, 'It is through many tribulations and hardships that we must enter the kingdom of God.'" The everyday sufferings of the disciples, whatever their line of work, had become meaningful. How? Because they were now on a lifetime journey of entering into the kingdom of God. Paul was teaching that when God redeemed their lives, he also redeemed their sufferings. It was a package deal, so to speak. Not just those sufferings that they would directly incur through their Christianity, but all their sufferings, even those 24/7 troubles that seem so meaningless. We may separate them, but God doesn't. Christ is our all-Redeemer. They had a new status in heaven. They were all heavenly citizens returning from banishment. All of their sufferings would now work together for their good, Romans 8:28, meaning every suffering from now on contained the power to transform them and transport them even farther along the road, closer to their goal. They were now suffering for Christ's sake and for his kingdom. This is wonderful news. We're not the best judges of this matter. God is. The redemption of suffering is one of the most heartwarming achievements of the suffering servant, Jesus. Ephesians 4:23 says, "Be renewed in the spirit of your mind," the way we look at life and its troubles. Beloved, let us have faith, knowing that there is a purpose in our struggles. Our faith is the key to releasing the saving potential in every pain.